Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Just ahead of Ryan Walter and some big NHL news. A reminder that today's guests, including Ryan, standing by, are brought to you by Langley Chrysler. Enjoy no-hassle 3-day returns and 30-day exchanges on all used vehicles. So you can make sure what you get is just right for you. Don't just love your car, love buying it at langleychrysler.com. We just found out moments ago that Robin Lehner is having season-ending surgery. Do we know what part of the body we're talking about here, Ryan?
No, I just saw Emily Kaplan of ESPN is the one that reported this, and she brings up the point that he had battled back from major knee injury he sustained in Philly on March the 8th.
Oh, okay.
So clearly I would assume it's the same thing. It just can't go on any further.
So they're goaltending in the hands of Logan Thompson. Laurent Brossoit is there as well. BC connections with both Vegas as they continue their push to the playoffs, Rick.
Marc-Andre Fleury plays for the Minnesota Wild, and boy, could they use him right now.
Yeah, it just seems Vezina Trophy. You just forget, at his age, he won the Vezina Trophy last year, and they move on from him. I know they had to make cap room, but I'm sure they're questioning that move right now down in Vegas. Okay, sad day in the world of hockey, in the world of sports in general, as Guy Lafleur leaves us at the age of 70. Ryan Walter, Pride of Burnaby, played 3 seasons. I hope I got that right. With Guy in Montreal in the 80s from 82 to 85. And Ryan joins us now to share his memories of Guy Lafleur. How are you, sir?
Hi, Don. Hi, Rick.
Hello. Thanks for joining us on short notice. Just your reaction, Ryan, to the passing of the great Guy Lafleur.
Yeah, boy, it's a tough one, guys. Flower was obviously a very good friend. You know, when I got to Montreal, I was, as you guys know, it was the worst trade in NHL history, right? and guys like Guy Lafleur, Guy was my roommate for that first year.
Oh my!
And just learned a ton from Flower. I mean, the thing I remember about Guy is his smile and his intensity, and those went together, right? I think the other thing I remember, guys, is Flower taught a whole generation of us young guys how to be professionals. Fans were tough, but fans were not your enemy. And you treated fans well. And I remember Flower hours after practice signing every hockey card and licking the stamp and, sending it back. And yeah, he's going to be missed. He's one of the amazing hockey players of our time. And even more so, an amazing man.
You'd spent time in Washington, but you get traded to Montreal. You're still a very young man in your 20s. Ryan, you just said this. What was your reaction when you found out Guy Lafleur was going to be your roommate on the road?
Yeah, I know. I think I was. I hadn't expected the trade, and so I was in a little tizzy anyway. But Flower, just a wonderful guy. He would. As everybody knows, he'd go over to the window and crack a window and have a cigarette. And that's who he was. And the whole time he would apologize. Oh, sorry, Wally. Sorry, Wally. And I'm going, like you guys just said, I'm going, hey, Flower, you can do anything you want. You're Guy Lafleur. Come on. Wonderful guy.
Hey, Ryan, you just said something there, and I hate to bring this up. But the culture of hockey at the time, and we lost Mike Bossy, a long-time smoker. Same with Guy. What was it with the sport of hockey and smoking back in the day?
Well, the context is really important. The first year when I was drafted into Washington in 78, that was the last year that you could elect to not wear a helmet. Mm-hmm. So think about that, right? The context was very different in those days. And it was part of culture, and culture has changed, and much of it for the good, right? We're in a position now where we know things that maybe we didn't know back then. I remember, bless my mom and dad's heart. I mean, they're the greatest people I know. But I remember as a kid being in that car where, they would both smoke in the car, right? It was a cultural thing that was starting to move towards better health. but hadn't taken over yet.
Ryan, go back to playing in Montreal. So many Stanley Cup winning teams, so many legends. They say it's a religion in Quebec. When you first got there, did you feel that? I mean, Lafleur, Shutt, Robinson, all these guys. I mean, how was it playing in Montreal?
Yeah, those first months were fascinating. I got a chance to not only room with Guy, but in the my early days there in Montreal, I played with Doug Wickenheiser as our centerman and Flower on the other wing. I mean, we had a really good year that year, and unfortunately, it came to an end against Buffalo in a best-of-5 series in the first round. Scotty Bowman had moved on to Buffalo, and that was a big disappointment. And there was many disappointments during the 9 years that Jen and I were in Montreal. But I got to tell you guys, there's a lot of upside too. And, a couple cup finals, so thankful. Like you guys said, I'm just a kid from Burnaby, British Columbia, right? Like I shouldn't have had that opportunity, and I'm so thankful.
We all know Guy, the great goal scorer, the great player. Give us a little insight to him off the ice.
Well, off the ice, Flower was amazing. I mean, he had fun, there's no doubt. But again, Rick, I come back to the professionalism. Flower would show up at the arena. Think about this. To play a hockey game at 7:00 at night, he would be at the rink between 1:30 and 2:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
And he'd be fully dressed with his skates on, except they weren't tied up by 3:00. Right? Like he was one of these guys that he didn't go for an afternoon nap, right? He spent his time preparing for the game. The other thing that amazed me is Flower used to get on the ice 35 to 40 minutes before any other player for pretty much every home practice. Wow. And he'd just be working on the slap shot. He'd have pucks. And Mike Bossy was very much like that too. Pucks in front of the net, bury the head, just quick release. So he was a guy that, it wasn't, there's a couple of different types of players at the NHL level. One is, I got to the NHL, I've arrived, this is amazing. The other is, no, I'm here and I'm always working on my craft. And that was Flower.
Yeah. Broadcasting's much the same, Ryan. Let me tell you, for people who don't know, what are you up to these days, Ryan?
Hey, doing lots of leadership development, guys. COVID pushed us onto Zoom, and now we're back in person. So primarily, we work with companies across North America.
Ryan, thanks so much. We called you, an hour ago, and you agreed, or an hour and a half ago, and you agreed to come on with us, short notice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with both of you.
Keep pumping those books out, Ryan. I read a lot of them, and they're really good. And you need to sign a couple more for me. Come on, pal.
I got another one on the way, Rick. It's coming your way.
All right, Ryan. Thank you so much.
We'll get you back on when it comes out. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.